the big calls on all the big races. Yes, you know, it's time for another What a Shout brought to you by our sponsors Bet365. Dave Orton, thrilled to be back in the seat. Filmed somewhere in the capital on a Friday morning. It's the Racing Post flagship feature weekend show. Interesting weekend, interesting week. Hot off the back of another glorious 5 days at Goodwood. How did you get on? We'll be talking to my panellists about that a little bit later on. We've got a great guest for you. One and only guest, I think, with the Shergar Cup coming up. Is it for you? Ain't it for you? However it is, we'll be trying to pinpoint some winners your direction. Of course, do like and subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. You can put all your feedback below. Give us your weekend naps. Who's excited about the 4:15 at the Curragh? What a Group 1 the Phoenix Stakes looks to be. If you're watching on Facebook, hello! Say hello, of course, back. And anything on Twitter, hashtag What a Shout. Right, let's get straight down the panel. How are we, Paul Kealy?
All good.
Are you sure? Are we starting on a good note?
All good. Well, we say good note, bad note. I mean, we had another big festival, another really frustrating festival for me.
I never know why you don't take your annual leave this weekend, Kills. I do more work with you on this weekend in particular.
No. Last couple of years, maybe. I mean, listen, absolutely. Listen, when it comes to Shergar Cup, you know me in team events, I'm no fan whatsoever. But you know, between Goodwood and York, when my kids were young, that was the perfect time to go on holiday. They ain't young anymore. Like, you know what I mean? So I'm not going on holiday. I'm not having holidays during the summer holidays anymore. You know, so I've got no choice.
And here we are. We've got you for the team event again.
Suck it up.
Now, there's a bit of Groundhog Day, Pat Cooney, about, because we've now had the pleasure of your presence for around about 3 seasons of What a Shouts at least, isn't it? And every single first weekend in August, he starts moaning.
Yes, absolutely, yes. It's one of the great traditions in the game, isn't it? But it's Shergar Cup weekend. Come on, get behind it.
I love it, Pat. And can I just say, Patrick, I'm thrilled that the wife has finally let you home. We haven't seen that backdrop for a little while. And while the rest of us are basking in sunshine and praying for aircon, how's the weather in Stoke? 2 layers, man.
Yes, 2 layers, and it might be a third by this evening. It's pretty breezy up there, but it's going to be dry over the weekend, and I'm about an hour away from Haydock Park, so it looks like it won't be on the soft side up there.
Okay, that's interesting to know. Good to know. Yeah, I mean, where do we go with this? Before we look forward, Keels, how was Goodwood in its entirety?
Yeah, just frustrating. I mean, you know, I had a couple of winners, but I mean, I had so many near misses, and I keep doing this. You think one of these days you're gonna, you know, kick the door down, aren't you? But you know, I'm standing over the line on Saturday out on the track with 100 yards to go. I thought Dark Shot was winning 50-1. Was our back tab deed at 33s and 25s for Shergar Cup. He definitely got his head in front, but just not in the right place.
It's not easy out there at the minute, is it?
It's just really had a few that, you know, didn't get run. Super Jack, I backed at 10s, went off 7-2.
Back-to-back winners of the Wokingham and the Stewards Cup.
It's mad, isn't it? Absolutely mad.
I mean, all we've got to do next year is just wait for them to rock up again, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's just so unusual for it to happen in either of those races, and to get it both in the same season, mad. But you can't take anything away from the winners. They ran perfectly good races, but just landed on the wrong ones, or just not getting the rub of the green, I think.
Kills, this is the weekend. This is the weekend.
Well, we hope so.
It is.
We hope so, but did you see Alligator Rally on last night?
Oh, this brings us back in, Patrick, doesn't it? First question then, Pat, overall turnover on the Goodwood Festival?
Yeah, it was all really, really buoyant. No problem at all. Turnover, good mix of results as well. And you know, the stars turned up and won, didn't they? We had a great Goodwood Cup. But I'm a bit like Keels. It's so maddening, really. I felt, you know, the older I get, the less wise I seem to be. I keep falling for horses, making plausible cases for them time and time again. Saturday in the Consolation Stewards Cup, I backed Stone of Destiny at 20-1, and that's got beat a length and a half. And honestly, I've got to start learning here, because I keep falling for him every single race, and I will do next time. It's typical Goodwood, isn't it? You either back winners or unlucky losers, and I was in the latter camp, sadly.
I'll tell you what, both of these men like a pint, and they're both half empty at the moment, aren't they? You mentioned Alligator Alley. It's team season, isn't it, of course? In the Racing Post team in the studio, it's me and you. What did you make of the Racing League on Thursday? Now, I know you've written a lot about it, and your regular readers will know that it's not really for you, but that was a very competitive card.
It was a competitive card. Now, you know, I made the point when I wrote the email column earlier in the week that if it's going to turn up racing like that, especially at the moment when we are getting plagued with small fields and dull stuff that isn't worth betting on, then we had, 6-7 great betting heats last night. Really competitive racing, 4-1 the field, etc. I liked it. I tuned in only to watch the races, and then I watched something else until a couple of minutes before, because I've got zero interest, and I never will have, in listening to people talking about team this and team this. Nobody's going to be standing there saying, come on the East, come on London and the South East, all that. It's all rubbish, right? Team events do not work in racing. Punters aren't interested in them. I'm certainly not interested in them. I love the racing, but it just goes to show, you put that sort of money on, people to turn up.
Yeah,
or horses.
It's a lot of money.
Horses will turn up. Apparently, there weren't that many people at the actual track last
Not
night.
one fav either on the opening night.
Not one fav on the opening night. No, I mean, it was good racing. It was a bit, my biggest issue was the Alligator Alley run. We had three races on the straight track before that, all winners on the far side of the track, and then one race when the winner come towards the near side. So the next race, they all came over. And of course, Alligator Alley and the other joint favourite, Spring Bloom, they actually expended more money going down at the start, because they were just stuck on the rail, and that was it.
I was waiting for a race at Sandown to kick off.
And it doesn't
trust me, it was just as frustrating watching that. But when I saw Alligator Alley coming down there, I just went,
it doesn't make sense. I had loads of people complaining about the jockey, because I went on to Twitter and had my a little rant. But I had loads of people going and complaining about the jockeys on those two, and I don't think it was those two jockeys' fault. I think it was the rest of the jockeys' fault for coming over in the first place.
They're all to blame.
You know what I mean? Because they, if you are on a hold-up horse, right, once the entire field decides they want the same strip of ground, you're in trouble, right? And it's you're going to have to lose an awful lot of ground by swishing around all the way around the field. Right, or you got to sit and hope, which is what both of them did. It didn't work. Right, the problem was that they all came across. It was silly, but overall, team events. Listen, I've never had much of a problem with the Shergar Cup, as in it's a one-off, one day a year.
Okay,
right? You either like it or you don't.
It's a holiday season for good reason.
If you don't like it, you don't have to go. Yeah. It always gets a big crowd for Ascot. If you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. I normally don't watch it. Like, you know what I mean? Because, like I said, I was on holiday, so it never bothered me. Issues for punters. Jockeys they don't know. Now, there are some very, very good jockeys riding there that we can talk about later on, but they're not familiar. And punters are a fickle bunch. They do not, do you want to risk your money on somebody you've not heard of? Easily, you know what racing Twitter is going to be like tomorrow, right? A favourite will get beat, a horse will get in a bit of trouble, and it'll be because that jockey's completely useless, shouldn't be over it. Yeah. It's not true, but that's just how people are going to react. 2, there's reserves. And reserves that we don't know until the last minute whether they're going to run. In one race, one of them is second fav. That is a massive killer for turnover. I'm sure Pat would say that as well.
To Pat.
Who wants to bet when who wants to bet when we don't know? So there are issues there, and the team event, I couldn't care less who wins. I really couldn't. I mean, it just doesn't mean anything to me whatsoever.
Right, well, out of the frying pan, into the fire. I was going to say, you've got until next Thursday for the team events, Gills. Have a lie down. This can be a black couch session sometimes for Gills, of course. But here we are with the Shergar Cup, Pat. Now, we're talking to Hayley Turner. Let's get it out of the way now. Absolutely queen of the Shergar Cup. Has won it 4 times with the girls. Silver saddle twice. 9 winners. She's going to tell us why she loves it. Is there any yin and yang coming from you about this?
Well, I personally like it. I did enjoy the Doncaster last night, and as a punter, I didn't necessarily enjoy it. I had 2 bets about Alligator Alley. We've mentioned him, and I also thought Fresh Hope would be very hard to beat, and he was another unlucky loser. So you think it'd be easy, wouldn't you, on the straight course, no problems? But there we go. That's the bane of punters' lives. But on the Doncaster, it was much more busier than it was at Sandown. So the punters like it. There didn't seem a big crowd there, and maybe that doesn't augur well for when it goes to Southwell later on in the season. But Shergar Cup, I like it. I thoroughly enjoy it. The first year I went to it, Danny Minogue was singing after racing, and she was really good. Racing's good, but as Keel says, you're going to get one of these jockeys who's unfamiliar with the track. Have a bit of a nightmare time of it, so he's going to get a lot of abuse. But you know who the jockey's on the horse is, so it's up to you. But as for turnover, you're bang right. We have it in Ireland, of course, with the reserves. In the UK, punters don't really want to be not having had their multiples by midday and so forth. First race is 1 o'clock. You want to be getting on early, and you're hanging around waiting for reserves. Who's on this? Who's not on this? it can be awkward, but it'll be fine turnover race by race.
Well, we have then had our say on What a Shout. You have yours below. We've got Hayley Turner coming up, of course. But perhaps we'll have to get someone on who represents the Racing League to give it a bit more of a welly, because ITV now involved, and seemingly, the young racing fans. I mean, I've got a 7-year-old son. He actually really, really liked watching the format with me for as long as he's allowed to stay up last night. Anyway, so we move on. Let's have a look at exactly what we've got coming up for you. Yes, the queen of the Shergar Cup, Hayley Turner, of course, fresh from more Royal Ascot success, joins us for a lovely interview piece. Then we'll be looking at 5 big race previews. A little bit of Haydock, a little bit of Newmarket, yes, Shergar, and of course, that Phoenix Stakes before the all-important weekend winners. Well, it's a very warm What a Shout debut, and this is the epitome of her career. I've been calling her the queen of the Shergar Cup. Hayley Turner joins us from her home in Newmarket. Hayley, hello.
Hello.
Here we are. You've been doing the rounds this week, Hayley, haven't you? But here you are on What a Shout. You've been waiting for this call, haven't you?
Most important one of the week. I was saving it till the end.
Correct. Absolutely right. She knows in the future she's going to be getting loads of love from the Racing Post, that's for sure. Hayley, we've been lucky enough. We've been lucky enough to work with each other. I have on Sky a few times. Your first winner, Hayley. Should we go back to it? I've got you as riding. I don't recognise the trainer actually. 2000, the Millennium at Pontefract, a horse called Generate. Is that right?
Yes.
Bon.
I do vaguely remember, such a long time ago.
And well, let's bring it to this week, all right? Because Beautiful Secret at Yarmouth, you turned over a hot pot, didn't you? That was your 940th, we make it, career winner. Is that right?
Yeah, but actually, if you add up my international winners, I'm 20. You add 22 to that.
What? So why aren't we making more of a song and dance about 1,000 winners then?
Well, I'm hoping to get there. Yeah.
Because jockeys always do this with me. Kills, do you ever? They always go, yeah, but you've not counted that one in Bermuda and that one in Jersey and all that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, we don't know, do we?
But it's fair to say,
those stats, do we?
It's fair to say, Hayley, you have flown the ship, haven't you, for the female jockey ship? You are
You can't fly ships, you know.
What do you mean? Why not?
Absolutely, you've sailed the ship.
Right, you can fly.
You've flown the flag.
You're in space, you can fly a ship.
You've
Look, you can
flown the flag.
All right, the mothership. All right, okay, I'm already getting pelters. Here we go.
Oh, my God.
All right, 2008, the first lady rider to ride 100 winners. 3 Group 1 winners, that's right, isn't it? Can you remember them?
Yeah.
Dream Ahead. Is that the best horse you've ever ridden?
Yeah, in a race. Yeah.
No, I'll tell you what, one day we're going to have to get you in the studio because this is the sort of thing that we all want to hear about. This is something I'm obsessed with. Who was the best horse? Was it one we saw on track or indeed work? Margot did.
Yeah.
And I'm a Dreamer?
Yeah.
Boom. Okay. 3 Royal Ascot winners?
Yeah.
2 for Charlie Fellows in the Sandringham. And 1 this year.
Latin Lover.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed, for Harry. 9 Shergar Cup wins, which brings us to this weekend. 2 Silver Saddles, 2018, 2019. Honestly, it's like I'm going down.
You can see them in the background.
Oh, yes. Look at that pride of place. Absolutely. I thought that was some fancy artwork or something. I like it. And
I need to get my brass cleaner out, though.
well, we're hoping to add to that this weekend, aren't we? You're a 4-time girls' captain winner as well, aren't you? Well, you've won it 4 times. Were you captain for each occasion?
I think so. Yeah, no, actually, I think Emma Jane was captain on one of them.
Okay, yeah. Well, so who joins you back? She's won 3, of course. Your great friend. I mean, she's mustard, isn't she? The Queen of Woodbine, she is, of course. And you've got Joanna Mason this time, replacing Holly, who's had to go and ride Bradson, of course, in the Phoenix Stakes. Super team.
Yeah, really happy. I think it's the best team we've had so far. I mean, we get a couple of, sometimes we get someone that's not as experienced on the track, but I'm this is a solid team. I can't make any excuses of them.
Okay, all right. So shall we get into your eyes? Because we've got Paul Kealy here, but before we do, Hales, this is your weekend, isn't it? It's fair to say. You know, I think everyone knows that, and ITV.
It's all about me this weekend.
Well, I mean, we've just got Frankie there and Jason Collett coming up from Australia.
Frankie who?
Yeah, correct. Absolutely. Now let's have a look at your eyes then, Hayley. Of course, the draw was done on Thursday. You all went and did a big press conference at Ascot. We all had to wait for it to come out, but you would have been thrilled in the first race. But the new races, of course, we kick off at 1 o'clock. It is the curtain race at Classified Stakes, and Joanna Mason has drawn the hot pot. Very progressive horse called Amonzo for the Haggis team, who looking at a big day. But Nicola Curry again. You know, this is her weekend, isn't it? She's got one, Pistoletto, well drawn for John Ryan. And yourself, you are sitting on the interesting Atherby for Jane Chapel-Hyam, who's having a sterling year.
Yeah, I've had a few rides for Jane, but not many. But she did ring me yesterday just to inform me that she's, despite the horse being 20-1, she's quite hopeful. I think the horse has got cheap pieces back on. I'm going to give Holly Doyle a ring because she rode it last time, so she might be able to give me some advice about it as well.
Well, look, this is why you're here. I think this is probably why this is the moment you've been waiting for this week, because I know all about this horse. He's a bit of a bugger, this horse, because when he won at Nottingham, I thought, no, I don't fancy him. And he looked beaten, and he just got up on the line. The cheap pieces are needed. Hayley, you will feel like you're beaten at some point. Just keep rowing away, because I think he's holding something back.
Okay, great.
All right.
You're going to get instructions for every race.
You are going to get instructions for every race here. Because in the next race, you have actually got quite an interesting ride, and this is on the straight track. Everyone knows that you ride that so well. It's a 135. It's the full of surprises, Classified Stakes. Could you cause one on Crazy Luck?
Crazy Luck. Whose is that?
Yeah, exactly. This is why you're here. It's the Millmans.
Well, yes, okay.
I bet they're thrilled you came out the hat now.
you have to bear in mind that when I got the call through for my rides, I'm on the way to Doncaster. So, and then I rode all night, didn't get back till 11:30, rode out all morning. So I actually haven't had time to look through them properly. But James Millman did DM me on Twitter and gave me a little bit of a confidence booster about it.
Wondered where we were going with that. Yeah, she was beaten at the meeting last year. If you watch back in the Racing Post Members Club, which I'm sure you are, Hayley, in the replay, this got absolutely no run whatsoever on the straight track at Goodwood last time. She was just touched off in the sprint here last year. She loves Ascot, basically. They're running from out of the weights, aren't they? But the prize money's so good. James has been nosing everyone off about that, but because this is the race that didn't fill, I'm not going to get kills started about that one. But from stall 4,
I've got to get to Haydock. Don't.
Exactly. But look, we think you might have a bit of a chance there. She's quite an interesting filly, that one. You're sort of top heavy, Hayley, aren't you? Because you're coming out early. You're trying to get your points on the board.
I've never been called that before.
We'll see if it makes the edit. It'll be down to Bet 365. But you're on Manaccan in the next. Now, this is one I'm just going to hand over to Kills for.
Yeah, look at this one. He was fifth 2 starts ago when you rode Latin Lover at Royal Ascot, and he saw loads and loads of daylight. He has gone from the front before. But you've got King of Stars in here. Now, I originally liked him, and I've jumped off him just because it's got Takeshi Yokoyama on it, and it's not because of lack of ability, because he's obviously very decent, but it's lack of familiarity. And I do think it's very hard to make the running on the straight track at Ascot, especially if you don't know the course. And I reckon you should just sit off him, because when he ran at Chester last time, he was held up and he come through with a really, really good strong run. So I think he's versatile and doesn't actually need to go like he went at Ascot.
Cool.
If you watch him.
I love that, Kills. Like, you thought you were going to get writing notes and everything.
Yeah,
Hayley's just going to get on it. So look for the grey, basically.
You're like, shut up, Kealy. I know what I'm doing.
I did speak to Adam Kirby yesterday,
yeah.
And he said it's a good ride to have.
He's a good horse. He's a good horse. He was fourth in a Group 3. He was fourth in a Cornwallis last year at Newmarket on soft ground, but obviously handles decent ground. So there's definitely ability there. Goes in there off 2 career bests.
So I'll tell you what, Hayley, when you're doing your pre-race interviews tomorrow, just remember this, okay? And you can just regurgitate it. Whenever they do the opening show, they come together the night before, they stay at the hotel, they listen to this show and they just regurgitate it. So you can do that. You're sitting out the next, of course, but you've got massive chances in the 245. Let's go to the 320, where you're on quite an interesting one in Angel Power, who wears first-time cheek pieces. Fair to say that she's got a bit to prove, but you've got an all right draw, haven't you? And back class is there.
If I'm honest, I've not looked through the form. I mean, I am going to go in tomorrow fully prepared.
I mean,
but I know it's the Roger variant. I don't even know where I'm drawn.
You're drawn in 3 on over a mile 4. That's obviously a good thing, isn't it?
Over a mile 4.
Yeah.
Well, actually, the mile 4, you're better off being drawn wide.
This is going well.
Yeah.
Only because you're running. If you look at the stats over a mile 4,
absolutely,
the higher draws tend to favour, particularly in the big field. So a smaller field, I don't think it'd be as
well. Let's
relevant.
zoom to the 430 then, because you have got quite an interesting horse here called Approachability. If you looked at this one, because you draw 9 over a mile 4, you'll be thrilled.
I know that it's Mark Johnson's, and I always love riding for him because you have to keep it simple, keep the horse in its comfort zone wherever that may be. And I've had a winner at the Shergar Cup for him before as well, so that was nice.
Yeah, they do tend to win quite a few races there, the Bravehearts, don't they? This chap wasn't seen to his best at Goodwood, was he, last time, Kills?
He wasn't, no, but I mean, he didn't run horrifically, I don't think.
Yeah.
You know, he's okay. Listen, it tends to be the Johnson's time of year as well, doesn't it? It's around about the Goodwood time and the height of summer, and they do have winners here. And you know, he's one of the better horses in the race on his best form, without a doubt.
All right, okay. So look, you're going through the card, Hayley. You must be very confident in winning after this.
Huh? Well, absolutely. Get on.
Do you know what? You're 20 to 1 to be top rider
Am I?
with Bet365. Yeah, should I be having a little? You know?
Well, I'm by the sounds of it, I've got a few outsiders that have got a good chance. So.
And a banker, and Mannequin.
And you've got Kills' nap as well, so you'll be thrilled about that.
Which is the nap?
Mannequin.
That'll win.
John Ryan's.
Yeah.
He, I spoke to him. He's really confident as well.
I tell you what, it's easy this game sometimes, Hayley.
I'm getting good vibes off a lot of people. So Jane Chapperheim, John Ryan, and James Millman have all been quite excited and saying I've got a great chance on them. And obviously I haven't spoke to Roger Barron or Mark Johnson.
If you could film James Millman being excited, we'd all love to see it. Who's a dear friend of ours, of course, and comes in the studio plenty. Listen, Hayley, thanks for coming on. What a shout. Let's just wrap this up. Honestly, it's a great day, isn't it? The sun's going to be out. The holiday crowd will be there. Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Well, there we are then. As I mentioned, the queen of the Shergar Cup. Thanks to Hayley for coming on. And she, you've given her the lowdown. Mannequin goes and gets the business done now. Yeah. Has she convinced you yet?
No, not really. No. But she always rides a winner there, so I always do look at her rides, and having looked at some of them, Joanna Mason's got 2 cracking rides as well.
Yes, I fancy one
as well. So they're going to go well again, I think.
Yeah.
But overall, teams, it just doesn't. Look, end of the day, Dave, I am. Another thing I said, right? I don't follow team sports. I don't watch much football. I don't watch any cricket, rugby. Couldn't give a monkey's. I used to watch it, but I couldn't give a monkey's who wins. It's just watchable golf. You know what I mean? I've never followed a team, so it means nothing to me.
I guarantee, if you get a Shergar Cup winner tomorrow, you are raising the roof.
Yeah, well, I'm not though, because I'm not going to be betting like I normally do.
Yeah, all right,
simple as that.
Well, of course, absolutely. And listen, there's 11 terrestrial races tomorrow, Pat. Let's maybe look at some of your team markets if you don't mind. Hayley then, 9-time winner, 4-time team captain winner with the girls team, and also silver saddle twice. Where does she stand in the current market of Bet365? With the jockeys, I'm quite interested in this.
Yeah, Hayley Turner is a whopping 20 to 1 chance to win it, and we're a quarter of the first 3 in the race. Market leader is Joanna Mason, who obviously replaces Holly Doyle, who's riding in Ireland. And she is a worthy favourite, I think. I mean, she's got some pretty solid rides. She sits there at 4. Then we've got a couple of overseas riders there at 7. My eye's drawn a little bit to Danny Tudhope. Everyone keeps saying what a good rider he is at Ascot, so he's going to be worth a few pound there as well. He sits there at 11-1, but if you're just going through and putting them all through the spreadsheets and seeing what it spits out, then you'd have to say Joanna Mason is a worthy favourite.
Interesting. It almost sounds like a Rick, doesn't it, with Hayley? I mean, look at that previous record at 20-1, but she's got a couple of big price runners that she told about, but Danny Tudhope as well. Well, look, you know, he is sitting on some horses he's ridden before at that meeting, William Agassiz in particular. So, look, there you are. If it's not for you, maybe go to Norfolk where they don't have any Wi-Fi. Right, this is what you've all been waiting for. Let's get our teeth stuck in. And if you do need some help, you'll be thrilled to know that the first race, we're not previewing a team race, Kills. It's the Rosa Lancaster Group 3, and we've got a hot pot in it.
We have got a hot pot in it. Should he be that short? That's my issue. This is Grocer Jack, William Haggis, his 9-length winner last time. I think everything else ran below form. I don't think it was as good as it looked, but I still think it was good, if you know what I mean. But how much better was it than what was red hot John Smith's Cup? With Anmart finishing second, with Intelligent coming from a terrible position and giving a couple of quid to Anmart in third. They were, that's a really, really good bit of form. The second and fourth have both won since. I think the second's won a listed race, the fourth's won a Class 2 handicap. So, it's red hot, strong form, and they're not the only ones with good form in the race. I'm half intrigued by World Champion. I don't know why he hasn't run since Derby Day. Yeah. He was teed up as being a potential French Derby horse last year. Now, I thought he'd completely gone at the game, but they gelded him. It's funny, he was quite strong in a bet against Chinned It on his return and finished last. Yeah. And then he runs in a handicap and couldn't have been much weaker and hacks up at 14-1. So he's still got a bit of promise. Yeah. So, I take on the favourite with something I don't really know what. I'm going to say Intelligent because I backed him in John Smith's. But, it wouldn't be with any confidence.
I'm starting to believe in Grocer Jack now. I put him up last time that he won at Newbury, and I know that he was flattered. He was, because Cadillac didn't really run to form, did it? And Finest Sound finds himself in a conditions race back in triple headgear on. We're filming on Friday at Thirsk. You'll now know how he got on, so you can get a line on that form. But the time was very good. Yeah, and he proved himself on a sound service. They've entered him in Australia. Paid $700,000 for him, didn't they? I think Haggis has got into his mind now, this horse, and he's where he wants to be. If he had a slightly lower draw, I'd make him near even money to beat some of these who are exposed. I think Intelligent will reverse form with Anmart.
I do. I think he probably will.
I think Anmart had a hard enough race, considering it was first time out. Yeah. Even though he could still be going forward. I make Royal Champion an interesting one. I don't think Peter the Great's good enough. Passion and Glory, I'll take on him as well. Fox's Tails never wins. Certain Lab was a bit of an eye catcher behind Anmart. Brentford Hope, I'll probably have a few quid on him because of last time.
He'll be cruising 2 furlongs out, won't he?
He's back in trip, isn't he? And the jockey.
He's back in trip. There's a bit of cut in the ground there at the moment. Whether it'll last, I don't know. But it's officially good as soft at the moment.
He's quite interesting, isn't he? Because they've always thought he's a group horse. But I would probably take Grocer Jack to beat Intelligent and Royal Champion.
Yeah, I mean, that's surprised me. I think Grocer Jack's the most likely winner. I don't think I'd back a 13-8. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, all right. Not a shorty then for Kills. I'm of the other opinion. Pat, where's he going to sit in the market?
Well, he has been very well backed pretty much all week. We've been betting on the race since Monday. And first of all, what a thrill. There was 10 runners except for the final deck. So we thought maybe this is going to be one of these 5-6 runner races. But he's been popular throughout. We were 7-4 after the final decks. Laid plenty of it, golden 6-4. I think he's just got one of these horses. He was very well backed at Newbury. As Keel said, he was visually very, very taking, very easy on the eye. The time was there, so all the clock watch gurus are in love with him. I don't think the ground's going to be a problem. I say I'm not that far from Haydock. I'd imagine it'd be good ground on the day. He's got good soft ground form, and obviously he won well on the fast. My only reservation really about him, I get it, he's the best horse in the race as we speak, but he's going to be taken on for the lead by Passion and Glory, who's a front runner. And Grocer Jack, he missed the break at Newbury and then tore his way to the front. So they're not going to be hanging around. And I'm not normally one to worry about draws in a 1.25 mile 10-runner races, but Passion and Glory's got stall 1 and Grocer Jack's got stall 8. So Grocer Jack's not going to have the inside pitch there. So it might be difficult for him throughout the race. That's Tom Marquand's problem, not ours. But on balance, is he a lay or a play at 6-4? I wouldn't be backing him at 6-4. I might be tempted at 2-1. So I'd have to be saying I could let him run at that price. I'm a bit like you. I thought Intelligent was maybe the moral winner of that big York handicap. Jane Chapel-Hyam's horse is in real good form. Maybe I'd back that one each way. The Grosser Jack, I get it. He's Cox Plate bound and so forth, so he should be winning a Group 3. It's just going to have to earn the victory with the way the race is going to pan out, though.
There you go then. All right, that's our Haydock showpiece then for you. 3 o'clock. Are you with or against? It doesn't that sound like Grosser Jack will be going much shorter than 6 to 4 then. All right, let's go to Ascot. I'm afraid you're not going to have a lie down yet, Kills, because we have got the Shergar Cup Challenge coming up. I'll tell you what, Pat, come back to you. Really surprised to see that State of Bliss, last year's winner from stall 1, okay, he hasn't shown that much recently. It's probably been on the road back from here after last year. He's got Frankie on and he's 20s.
20 to 1, yeah, and he's got a mixed bag of form, hasn't he, really? But that doesn't seem to be an obstacle to these Johnson horses. They run so often, they can win, they blow hot and cold, but I would imagine that wouldn't be popular in the market. It's just the fact, though, Dave, there's the front 3 in the market, Pride of Priory, Charging Thunder, the Whitmaster. They all come here with much better recent lines of forms, but, they're not bomb-proof themselves. You look at Pride of Priory, when this horse has won his last 2, connections have said, the small fields has been the benefit. Well, they're 2 7-runner races. This is a 10-runner race. Is that going to make a difference? It might do. Connections have flagged it as a reservation. The second favourite, Charging Thunder, well, maybe he might want further. It was a mile 6 last time. This is a mile 4. And the Whipmaster, who won 4 in a row prior to a good run last time, he's now gone up £18 since that first win. So maybe the handicap has got him. This smacks to me, and maybe we could get the front 3 in the race beaten. I quite like Pretty Sweet for George Bowie, who ran well in that listed race at Newmarket last week, and it was a bit better than previous runs. So Pretty Sweet at a double-figure price for me.
Okay, thanks, Pat. You're on Pretty Sweet, aren't you?
I'm pretty sweet as well, yeah.
With the Kiwi, Jason Collett.
Yeah, Jason Collett, 122 winners in Australia this year, 3 Grade 1s. He's, and that's despite having quite a bad injury at one point as well. So,
nice for Godolphin down there.
So, yeah, I mean, he's obviously very, very good, and we've seen some good Australia. We've had Hugh Bowman, we've had Kerry McAvoy, haven't we? Like, you know what I mean? So, he's gonna, he is top class.
They are different grading down
he's
there.
He's hawking for a European-based Melbourne Cup ride as well when he's over.
Good move.
He wants to do well, doesn't mean he will, but it is quite interesting in this race. Because I looked at it, I was half interested in the complete outside of Daniel Kodiak, because on that 6 to 1 to Montalban at Ascot, now he's £7 lower, he's actually got a shot. But his last 2 runs were so bad compared to what is required here that I had to leave. But I was looking at him, he's not the only horse that likes to go forward. In fact, there's quite a few. So I thought to myself, I want something that's probably going to be held up, and the Whipmaster is your obvious one.
But Pat's right, he's gone up so much in the handicap, hasn't he?
Well, yeah, this is it. So
I'm
going, Pretty Sweet, 3-1, really improved on the all-weather over the autumn and winter, and then 3 runs since June. First one at Royal Ascot over a mile, way too short, but drawn in 21 and got beat less than 5 lengths. So that was a good run. And he was up against quite a few in-form horses when 5th next time at Ascot. Sorry, she was. And then ran much better than the market position suggested she should at Pontefract. So I think with a decent pace to chase, I do think, like Pat said, a double figure price is quite tempting.
There must have been some trainers that were whooping with delight, basically. William Haggis is on holiday, I think, at the moment. As long as he's not in Norfolk, he'd have been seeing on his phone, basically, that, no disrespect to Norfolk lot, but there is no Wi-Fi up there. That Kieran Schumacher on the Fav, the Priory horse, who's won his last 2 on the all-weather, they'd be absolutely thrilled. He wants a bit further, I think, Pride of Priory. I think he does. I've covered those races, and he got up by a Nats you-know-what, didn't he, at Newcastle last time. I think he's fab purely because of the connections, and they've got a decent jockey booking. He might still be going forward. The one horse here that could just be better than this lot is Southern Voyage, I think. And Neil Callan. He's a good horse last year, wasn't he?
He was really heavily backed at York last time. It was hugely.
And he blew his brains early for whatever reason. He just went. And Neil Callan coming out for Archie Watson, I think they'd have been delighted. If he can take it back a bit more, Kills, and get a bit more cover, 10 to 1, I'm quite sweet about him. We must go, Pat, for the 3:40 showpiece at Newmarket. It's the Sweet Solera. Always an interesting Fillies puzzle, this. Who's on top at the moment for you guys?
Well, market leader is Lakota Shoe, Charlie and Mark Johnston, and we saw this filly run 3rd in the Chesham against the boys, and Holloway Boy was the winner of that race, and he ran okay at Goodwood. So the form indicates that she's a worthy favourite. But I don't know. You watched that run at Ascot last time out, and her tail was flashing throughout the last 3 furlongs. I'm not saying she's ungenuine or anything, but, it's not normally a good sign. The form's there, but I'd have a slight reservation about that, so I couldn't be backing her on that basis. That being said, she has been popular in the market, and, we put these prices up on Monday thinking the race again might cut up, so a relief to get 9. And they look 9 pretty good ones, really, don't they? Now, the interesting runner for me is Novikoi, Carl Burke. And Carl Burke's got so many talented 2-year-olds. It was always going to be interested what he was going to run in this race. And she won really, really impressively on her only run so far. Again, good time on the speed figures and so forth. But I think it's a deep old race. The top one at Al Seyoub. I was at Newmarket the day she won. It was only a small field, but there was plenty of chat about 3 or 4 in the race. And she came through and won well. So the form book says Lakota Sioux worthy favourite. If you like horses that flash their tails, that's not a problem for you. I personally don't, so I'll be opposing her. I think Novikoi might just be the one here.
This is where you can sometimes get one over on a bookmaker. I don't think she did it at Lingfield when she hosed up. And the second that day from Lingfield has won. They held her up at Ascot, which is often the right thing to do, isn't it? She was the only filly in the Cheshire when she kept going. Novikoi, the second favourite, I've got to admit, I have been burnt on a couple of once raced novice winners going up in grade recently.
It was enough of them in this race.
And it can happen in this race. And from the one poke, which is right down the middle, in this race last year when a horse called Main Edition, a Majestic Glory won, Wild Beauty was in it, if you remember, and they stuck to that far rail. If they do the same again, I think the second favourite will struggle, even though she looked like she could be a worldie. I thought this was quite straightforward. I thought the Fab would win. The Johnsons have won this 3 times in the last decade, and they had the third in the race last year as well. Ivory Madonna, although she hasn't won, she's probably got the best form in the race.
Well, she got the best form in the race, but she was £20 below it here last time.
I don't think we saw it to great effect there.
No, I don't think she were. I'm not sure she was 100% happy on fast ground at that track.
That dramatised form's taken a bit of whacking, isn't it? Does it suggest they ran their hearts out there?
It wasn't the dramatised form, was it?
It's
It's the meditate form.
Yes, it is the meditate form, which Morge, keep that in, we'll keep it in. Yeah. Morge has obviously given that some respect, isn't it? Of course.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to take what she did last time. Why? She was struggling early last time, and I'm just not 100% certain that she wants really quick ground there. Now, she might have just decided that, I want another furlong now as well, which is possible, which is what she gets.
The winner looked good.
But I think, the winner did look good. The winner did look good, but I mean, we're talking on RPR, she was £20 below her Ascot.
Was disappointing.
You know what I mean? So she's got a bit to prove, and looking at it, I can see where you're coming from with the Jolly, but this race for Newmarket is invariably, although you said it was interesting, invariably is one of the weakest group races that's run at Newmarket. You don't get many stars running in it. I'll take a chance on Al Seyoub, having opened her account over on the course last time, course and distance. It ain't great form. She's got to improve for it. I think she will. I think the trainer knows what he's doing with a 2-year-old as well.
He does, yeah.
And I'd take a chance, but it would be a small bet. I don't have a massive opinion. I'm half interested in the fact that Ray Guest is running Davina Grace because he's always had a cracking record with fillies. But end of the day, there's a few chances in here because they know how weak the race normally is, and you might get a bit of cheap back type.
OK, there we are then. So I like the Fav. Hopefully she'll be prominent under James Dore. What do you like? Keep those comments in below. We go back to Ascot then, Pat Cooney.
Yes, we do for the 355, the Shergar Cup mile. And market leader is Montesib, William Haggis, and how lucky is he? Danny Tudhope's in the saddle. Now, I know a bit about this Montesib because William fancied him quite strongly for our Bet365 Bunbury Cup. And he finished a decent 4th that day. That was over 7 furlongs on faster ground. And I spoke to him after the race. Obviously, he was a bit disappointed. He only got beat 2 lengths. He said, he wants a mile. He wants a mile. And probably a better give in the ground, maybe. Well, he stepped up to Goodwood last time out. He was supposed to run in a big race there over the mile. And he was a non-runner because the ground was too fast. So
he was drawn 16, though.
Well, yes, it's a lot faster when you get a double-digit number, isn't it? The vet's explanation there was quite decent, I think. So he's very much a horse of interest. He's got that type of profile, isn't he? He's bound to win a race like this at some point in his calendar. Talking of draw, he's out there in 11 again, so he's not exactly blessed with draw numbers. So on balance, he's a strong 5-2 chance. He's been well supported in the market. it just doesn't strike me as being a bargain, really, with maybe the ground being a slight reservation. I'm going to look at Via Serendipity of Charlie Fellows with the Japanese jockey aboard. Course and distance form. They always say it's good currency here. Well, this one's got good course and distance form. An 8-year-old, but at his best, I could make a plausible case out for him around about 9 or 10 to 1.
You know you're gone at the game when you're putting up Takushi Yokohama on Via Serendipity, don't you? This is what Pat will be at the bar.
Let's not have a go. You know what I mean. He's
Cue a 5-length winner.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he was also, he's obviously a very decent Japanese jockey, and he's born into the game, wasn't he? He won the Grade 1, the Autumn 10-0 show. Right.
Check you out.
Right, and both his father and grandfather rode the winner of that as jockeys as well. So he's been, he was on a horse as soon as he could crawl, basically. So
hang on a minute, you don't fancy King of Stars because he's on it, and yet you've studied his lineage.
No, I don't fancy it because it's hard to make the running at Ascot at the best of times, let alone when you've never ridden the course before. It's not a case of ability; it's familiarity.
It's not really a front runner's track, is it?
You know what I mean? Well, it can be.
As we saw with Meditate in
Melbourne. You've got to get it right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. That's why I've gone off King of Stars. Had a home-based jockey with plenty of experience of Ascot been on it, I would still be on it. But it's not. It's not a case of not trusting the jockey's ability. It's the lack of familiarity with the track that puts me off.
Okay.
Right. Anyway, back to this race. Looking at this, Montesib didn't like the draw. There's a horse in there who comes off in a career best and is a big double-figure price, which I don't quite understand. Yes, I know he's an 8-year-old. It's Redana, who won the first Cup earlier in the season. And under 10 stone 2 last time, finished close second, and it was only a claim in handicap. But we just, on our figures, it's an absolute career best, and he'd run well the time before. So Diane Sayer, she's quite good with these horses that especially and over jumps as well. They keep on running well despite their age, and I just think he's going to run well at a price.
You think Neil Cummings can have a good day as well?
He's a course winner as well. Yeah.
So much comes down to jockeys in this race, I think. Again, Mr. Haggis, unless he's visiting the Queen in Sandringham, would have seen him whooping when Daniel Tudhope was on Montesib because he rode him to win on his debut.
Of course, yeah.
I just think, I think I can understand why he's fab. The draw is horrible, but surely he doesn't make as much use of him as he did in the Bunbury Cup last time, and he was an eye catcher the time before that behind Inver Park at Ascot. I just wonder off 97 how much he's actually got in hand. I don't think this is one of the sort of lurking group horses in the stable.
First one at a mile as well, isn't it?
Yeah. So he's going to have to come back.
So there are negatives, isn't there?
I really like one in this. Jungle Cove for Jesse.
Righto.
And the Queen of Woodbine. We've had the Queen of Shergar Cup. But Emma Jane Wilson is a 3-time Shergar Cup winner. She's mastered Emma Jane Wilson. And drawn in 5 is Jungle Cove. Take a look at the Gowan Park run last time. Absolutely cruised through the race. And Wayne Lorden and a horse called Shark Bay of Aidan O'Brien's nuts it on the line, having caused all sorts of interference. It's amazing that wasn't thrown out. This is in a really good place. It's pretty well exposed to 5-year-old, but it will be one of the last off the bridle. And this is one of the races there I think I got more excited about. Okay, done and dusted. You happy? Shergar Cup done with for now.
Oh, God, for that.
Happy days. Let's go to the Curragh and find out who he's choosing in this 2-year-old Worldie.
Well, this is a fabulous race. I think this is the best juvenile race of the year so far. And I'm slightly surprised at how strong Bradsell has been in the market for this race since the final decks came out. Of course, Holly Doyle given up her Shergar Cup commitments to go over to ride. He won very well, didn't he, at Royal Ascot? He's been very, very well supported. He's a solid 7-4 favourite. Little Big Bear, I thought, should be favourite personally, but he's been easy to back out to 5-2. There has been money for Persian Force. How's he going to reverse the Ascot form with Bradsell? Not quite sure. And it's just a real talent-packed race. But if you're going by the immediate reaction from punters after the final decks come out, it has been all about Bradsell. And you do look at that Coventry form. He beat Persian Force. He beat Royal Scotsman, who won well at Goodwood. Fourth that day was Blackbeard. I can't see how Blackbeard can win this race because he looks held on the form book. I think Shartash is an interesting runner for Johnny Murtagh. That's around about 9-1. Would have to improve a bit, but he has gone that way race by race by race. I'm slightly surprised you can back Little Big Bear at 5-2, though. That does appeal to me. But I do get it, Bradsell. It seems Archie Watson very confident about the horse, working well. He says how well he works with his good older horse sprinters, so he knows the time of day. But this is a race Aidan O'Brien normally wins. That being said, he's not won it for 4 years, but he normally wins it. And I think Little Big Bear is the one. I think 5-2 is very fair.
25 runners in the past decade. Aidan has had 5 winners and 5 places. Not the only one that's done the homework, Pat. He hasn't won it since Sioux Nations in 2017. Does he win it this year?
I don't know. I think this is really tight. I think it's tight. I certainly think it's tighter than the market suggests. Now, obviously, Bradshaw comes in here with that winning the Coventry, and the form's worked out really well. But, you know, horses behind him have improved since, and we don't know that he has. Like, you know, horses can improve in various times and in short leaps or big bursts. We don't know. So he's a short enough price favourite, given the others have come out and done some more since. Persian Force, I thought, has looked good. Little Big Bears obviously looked good. Blackbeard looked ace last time in France, didn't he?
Yeah, and the horse that he beat,
and he's a six
since won there.
Yeah, exactly. And he's he's around a 6-1 trust. But Chartash is interesting. Chartash is very, very interesting.
I put him up when he beat Blackbeard on
You
this show.
did, yeah.
That
was his first run in Pat Company last time, and he had to wait a little bit for a gap. Looked like the gap wasn't going to go there. And as soon as enough space come, he went through it. I like the way he just went through it, and stuck his head down. So I think there's more to come from him as well. Just looking at him, I would take a chance on him because I think he's just a little bit too big.
I like him a lot. I just wonder whether Little Big Bear might be a bit quick for him. That's my only reservation. I think Little Big Bear should be fab like Pat. Ultimately, Persian Force, having covered that in the analysis when he went to the July, he just ran to his commentary form. But
you see, there's running to your commentary form and getting beat in the commentary, and there's running to your commentary form and barely coming off the bridle.
But
you know what I mean?
But it was a weak event with Little Big Bear.
It was.
Weird defection wasn't it from Little Big Bear?
Well, they just didn't like the ground.
That was odd because
they said it was very, very fast. They didn't like it. To them it was firm. To a lot of the time people, it was firm that day. Like, you know what I mean? So.
It's acid test time for Bradshaw, isn't it? Because
of course it is.
He was, I think at the sales he was ignored at a whopping price. They picked him up cheap for the breeze ups. Mm-hmm. He's done everything that you might have dreamed of and more. This will be interesting for a breeze up horse having had a break and coming back on the third start against horses that might just be revving up. Chartrash, I think, is absolutely overpriced. If there wasn't a third place market, conventionally, he'd be shorter without question.
I mean, it'd be nice if you could get some races where you can have each way bets in these
You'll
days.
You'll be able to do each way extra, of course, if you're playing on Bet365. I thought Little Big Bear would come out on top, and I've got Chartash second. I think Little Big Bear could be a bit of a freak. They went for the weaker of the 2-year-old races, didn't they? Because you got the feeling they just wanted to have a smash up. And this is not a conventional route. But last time he did look like a bit of a freak. And if you look at his pedigree, he's out of a bearing mare. He's bred to stay on the dam side, mile 2, mile 4. He could be an absolute nutter, couldn't he? So I think this will be his day personally. But Bradshaw I expect to drift. Do you?
I expect him to be a bit bigger than 6-4. Yeah.
All right, there you go. A fantastic race. One for the ages. Is it the best 2-year-old race we've seen in many a year? Again, get your comments below. Well, here we are. If you scrolled across just to find the nap time, you're going to get some winners coming your way. However, the rest of the show is mustard and you must not miss it. Right, come on then, Mr. Fickle. Are we napping at the Shergar Cup?
Well, only am I going to nap at the Shergar Cup, but I'm going to nap a horse against a horse I tipped earlier in the week because of the jockey. So this is only going to come back and bite me on the bum. But I actually like Hayley Turner's Mannequin in the Shergar Cup dash. Hopefully she will follow my orders and follow King of the Stars and then just pounce on him late.
Q Takidi absolutely making all to perfection.
A progressive 3-year-old who might just have group race aspirations.
Yeah, and if anyone's going to get it right there, it's going to be Hayley, isn't it? I'll bookend the card then, because I think Joanna Mason, another one for the girls. Admiral D in the last of 5:05. It's that Lethal Levi form. Forget Lethal Levi last Saturday. Just missed a break. Nothing went right, as Pat said earlier on the show. If this horse handles the ground, and I expect him to, I think he'll be too good on that July form. What about you, Pat? Where are you going?
I'm going to Newmarket for the 420, and this is the time of year, we're now in August, where you can happily back the 3-year-olds against their elders, and I've got one in this race, and it's Love de Vega for Charlie and Mark Johnston, trotted up a week ago over the course and distance on similar ground. It's coming up against horses like Ropey Guest and so forth, who are dropping down in grade, but this is a horse on the up. I'd rather be on a 3-year-old going up than an older horse going down. Just watch it win last week. It's hard to believe he won't be very competitive once again. So I'll be a Love de Vega fan in the 420 at headquarters.
And there you go. There's a lovely trifecta of nats for you this weekend. Well, sadly, that is all we've got time for on this weekend's What a Shout. We're spending it together and I cannot wait.
Yeah, I know. I was really looking forward to going to Ascot as well.
We will be doing it
Said
from
I'm in
this
here.
studio. Happy days. So look, you know, nice and quiet, but you're coming tomorrow with your tail between your legs, and your nap's going to win. I can feel it.
No. What is the flag for the rest of the world?
Good question. We should get some flags, shouldn't we? The merchandise is probably out there. Pat, where are you spending the weekend?
I'm be at Haydock Park, sadly, but I wouldn't have minded being at the Shergar Cup. I do thoroughly enjoy it, and it's a great day for all the family. But Haydock Park for me, up the road.
When Grocer Jack wins, be sure to greet Maureen or whoever's there for the team, Haggis, of course. All right, wherever you're watching it, let us know. It's a great weekend. It's a great time to be on planet Earth, isn't it? Are you a Little Big Bear fan? Are you a Brad Sell fan? Are you a Persian Force fan? You get the feeling that's the real team race of the year. Where's your allegiance? Let us know. Don't forget to download the free Must Have Racing Post app. You can do that on the App Store or the Google Play Store. Don't forget to gamble responsibly. That's our MO here at the Racing Post. And, of course, Bet365. Loads of sport out there. From myself, Dave Orton. Enjoy it.